Sigmas, ever wondered why your love life reads more like a solo mission than a romantic novel? Why do the most mysterious, powerful, and self-sufficient men often walk alone? This isn't about being lonely. It's about choosing solitude over settling, power over compromise, freedom over familiarity. Welcome to 8 reasons why Sigma males remain single forever. Not because they can't love, but because their definition of love is radically different. Let's dive in. Sigma males are lone wolves by design. Unlike alpha males who thrive on dominance or beta males who seek approval, Sigmas forge their own path. This path is often rugged, filled with self-discovery, purpose, and independence. Relationships for most people provide comfort and validation. For a Sigma, they can sometimes feel like chains. Fact: studies in personality psychology show that individuals with high levels of introversion and independence often prioritize personal goals over romantic pursuits. That's Sigma energy in a nutshell. They value deep, meaningful connections, not superficial flings or routine-driven relationships. Sigmas are less likely to engage in casual dating or settle for someone just to avoid being alone. Instead, they crave alignment, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. And when they don't find it, they wait, sometimes forever. It's not arrogance, it's intentional living. They'd rather spend a Friday night building a business, training their body, or mastering a skill than going on an awkward date. Their standards are sky high and their vision is locked in. And here's the twist: Sigma males fall in love deeply so. But they won't compromise who they are to make it happen. So if you're a Sigma and still single, don't question your worth. Question the world's assumptions about love, because maybe, just maybe, your solitude is the loudest proof of your strength. Reason 1, they value freedom over familiarity. Sigmas don't stay single because they can't commit. They stay single because they know their worth. Sigmas don't ask for permission to exist. They move through life like lone wolves, calm, confident, and unapologetically themselves. While society pressures people into conventional relationships, the Sigma male walks a different path. He doesn't fit into the romantic molds often showcased in movies or encouraged by peer expectations. For him, freedom isn't just a preference, it's sacred. Most people chase love like it's a finish line, but Sigmas, they chase liberty. That doesn't mean they don't crave connection, it just means they're not willing to sacrifice their peace to get it. They value solo hikes over forced conversations. They'd rather read in silence than perform emotional labor for someone who doesn't truly get them. They aren't cold or detached. They're deeply introspective, and they know that the wrong relationship can drain more energy than it gives. Studies in personality psychology, particularly those exploring introversion and autonomy, shed light on this behavior. According to research published in the individuals high in traits like self-direction and independence often resist external pressures to conform, including in their romantic lives. Sigmas reflect this deeply. They're not anti-love, they're anti-cage. The truth is, they don't fear commitment, they fear confinement. They fear waking up one day and realizing they've given up their values for someone else's comfort. They know that not all love is equal. Some love empowers, others control. Sigmas are only interested in the kind that fuels their spirit. This is why many of them stay single, not because they're incapable of love, but because they refuse to settle for less than a soul-level connection. A Sigma male would rather wait years for someone who respects his rhythm than jump into a relationship that demands he change who he is. So, when you see a Sigma walking alone, don't mistake it for loneliness. It's strength. It's discipline. It's a statement. He's not avoiding love. He's avoiding the kind of love that asks him to shrink. And that's not weakness. That's principle. Reason 2, they have zero tolerance for games. Let's be honest, modern dating can feel like a circus. You've got ghosting, breadcrumbing, love bombing, benching. It's like emotional dodgeball with no rules and even fewer rewards. Welcome to the era of swipe left culture, where attention spans are shorter than ever and genuine connection often takes a backseat to superficial thrills. But then there's the Sigma male, the lone wolf of the modern world. He doesn't just break the mold, he walks away from it entirely. While others are chasing validation and playing power games, the Sigma observes from a distance. He doesn't chase trends, he chases truth. Sigma males are masters of emotional intelligence. They read body language, pick up on subtle cues, and sense red flags from a mile away. If a conversation feels scripted or manipulative, they don't confront it. They simply disengage, not out of fear, but out of principle. For them, peace is non-negotiable. According to studies in psychology, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, empathy, and regulation of emotions is one of the highest predictors of long-term relationship success. Sigmas embody these traits naturally. That's why they don't waste energy decoding mixed signals or playing guessing games. They value authenticity and they offer it in return. So when someone tries to breadcrumb them with just enough attention to keep them hanging, the Sigma sees through it. When they're being emotionally manipulated or drawn into drama, they exit quietly but decisively. It's not about being cold, it's about conserving their emotional energy for what truly matters. Sigma males aren't antisocial, they're selectively social. They'd rather be alone than surrounded by people who drain their spirit. While others might view solitude as loneliness, Sigmas see it as power. In that quiet space, they build businesses, ideas, mental fortitude. So while everyone else is out there playing chess with feelings, trying to win at dating, the Sigma male is off building empires, alone maybe, but unbothered and unbreakable. He doesn't need the noise. He's not looking for a trophy. He's looking for truth. And if that takes time, so be it. Because a man who's grounded in self-worth doesn't rush the process. He becomes the standard. And that's why, in a world full of games, the Sigma male always wins by not playing. Reason 3, their standards are sky high. Sigmas don't just want someone, they want the right one. That's not romantic idealism, it's strategic alignment. Sigma males operate with intentionality. Every decision, every relationship, every step forward is calculated to preserve their values, peace, and freedom. For them, it's not about being difficult or overly selective. It's about purpose. While others may dive headfirst into relationships out of loneliness, social pressure, or convenience, Sigmas remain grounded. They understand that a misaligned partner can derail personal growth, compromise their mission, and disrupt the inner equilibrium they've worked so hard to build. This is why finding someone who genuinely respects their solitude, understands their mindset, and contributes meaningful value to their life is a rare occurrence. Not because Sigmas are impossible to please, but because they refuse to settle. Think of it this way, the average person may crave companionship for the sake of not feeling alone, but the Sigma male is wired differently. They would rather dine alone than dilute their standards for temporary comfort. They would rather walk a solitary road toward purpose than hold hands with someone going in the wrong direction. This isn't arrogance, it's awareness. Psychologically speaking, this is tied to what researchers call high intrapersonal intelligence. Sigmas are self-aware individuals who understand their emotional needs and boundaries. According to studies on emotional intelligence, individuals with high self-awareness and independence tend to be more selective in their relationships and happier in the long run. Sigmas also operate with what economists call opportunity cost in mind. They know that every commitment to the wrong person is time, energy, and potential lost. They think in long-term returns, not short-term distractions. That's why they guard their time and their hearts like precious assets. In the end, Sigma males aren't avoiding love, they're curating it. They're not opposed to relationships, they're invested in the right one. And if that takes time, so be it. Because for a Sigma, peace, purpose, and authenticity are non-negotiables. So when you see a Sigma male walking alone, don't mistake it for loneliness. That's a man who knows his worth and won't compromise it, not for validation, not for attention, and certainly not for the fear of being alone at a dinner party. Reason 4, they're masters of self-sufficiency. Here's the thing, Sigma males don't need anyone to complete them. Why? Because they've already done the inner work. While many chase external validation through relationships or social status, Sigmas turn inward. They've built careers from scratch, crushed personal goals, and healed emotional wounds alone. That solitude didn't break them, it built them. Psychologically speaking, this level of independence is rare. Studies in personality psychology classify Sigma males as introverted alphas, men who lead without seeking attention. Unlike traditional alpha males who thrive in hierarchies, Sigmas operate outside them. They don't rebel out of bitterness. They simply don't need the system to define their value. Their validation comes from within, not from approval or applause. While others rely on romantic partnerships to feel enough, Sigmas find that enoughness in solitude. They know who they are, what they want, and most importantly, what they won't tolerate. Their boundaries are crystal clear because they've spent time understanding their worth without compromise. That makes them incredibly selective in relationships, not because they're picky, but because they're whole. They aren't out looking for someone to complete the puzzle, the puzzle. That's why their solitude is not a punishment, it's a sanctuary. It's where they recharge, think deeply, and evolve. A 2021 study on emotional intelligence found that people with high intrapersonal awareness tend to have healthier boundaries and more fulfilling lives. Sigmas embody this. They're not lonely, they're at peace. So when people ask, why are you still single? The answer is simple, it's by design. Sigma males don't jump into relationships out of fear of being alone. They'd rather stay single than settle for something that compromises their freedom or values. That kind of power, the power to choose solitude over settling, is rare, and that's what makes Sigma males not just powerful, but often permanently single by choice. They don't fear being alone because they've already found what most people are still searching for: themselves. Reason 5, society just doesn't get them. Let's be real, the Sigma male is an enigma, misunderstood, unpredictable, unapologetically independent. In a world that constantly rewards the loudest voice in the room, the Sigma male is the quiet observer who ends up pulling the strings. While society often praises extroverts, social butterflies, and those who climb the social ladder with charm and charisma, Sigmas walk a different path. They don't seek validation. They don't play the game. And that's exactly what makes them so compelling and so confusing to others. Unlike alpha males who lead the pack or betas who follow, Sigma males operate outside the hierarchy. They thrive in solitude. Their goals are deeply personal. Their confidence doesn't shout. It whispers with quiet certainty. And because they don't flaunt their power or seek attention, most people don't know what to make of them. That's intimidating. Psychologically speaking, people tend to trust what they can easily categorize. Sigma males defy categorization. They may have the ambition of an alpha, the introspection of a philosopher, and the social awareness of a master strategist, yet they won't fit into any box. That's not by accident, that's by design. And when it comes to relationships, this mystique only deepens. It's not that Sigma males are emotionally unavailable. On the contrary, they often feel deeply, but only reveal their inner world to those who genuinely earn their trust. That's rare, that's selective. And let's face it, most people don't have the patience to unlock someone that complex. So Sigma males often stay single, not because no one wants them, but because very few actually them. Not for their looks, not for their achievements, but for their mind, their essence, their values. Ironically, this very independence, this otherness, becomes a magnet. People are drawn to the Sigma's aura, but confused by their detachment. The world says, be louder. Sigmas reply, watch closely. In the end, the Sigma male isn't trying to be different. He's not antisocial, he's selectively social, he's not unromantic, he's deeply romantic with the right person. But until someone connects with his frequency, he walks alone. Not out of loneliness, but out of choice. And in that choice lies his greatest strength. Reason 6, they're too focused on their mission. Every Sigma has a purpose, a mission that burns deeper than fleeting romance or societal norms. For these independent thinkers, life isn't about fitting in. It's about standing out by doing something meaningful. Whether it's launching a business, mastering a unique skill, writing a book, inventing a solution, or impacting lives, they're all in. Unlike other personality types, Sigma males don't chase relationships for validation. Instead, they seek alignment. They understand that building something worthwhile takes extreme focus and sacrifice. Romantic relationships, while beautiful, often demand time, compromise, and emotional bandwidth. And for a Sigma, that bandwidth is reserved for their purpose. Psychologists suggest that people with high levels of self-determination, those who are intrinsically motivated, tend to avoid relationships that conflict with their goals. Sigmas fall into this category. They're driven not by external expectations, but by inner vision. Their hustle is their romance. The late nights, the brainstorming, the relentless pursuit of mastery, that's where their passion lies. Their grind becomes their partner. They don't complain about being alone because their solitude is filled with purpose. And in that purpose, they find peace. It's not that Sigmas are against relationships, quite the opposite, but they require depth. They want a partner who adds fuel to the mission, not friction. Someone who understands that ambition isn't selfish, it's sacred. And here's the twist. When a Sigma finds someone who respects that vision, and walks beside them, not in front, not behind, that relationship becomes powerful. But until then, they'll keep walking solo. Not in loneliness, but in power. Not in bitterness, but in clarity. So if you ever wonder why a Sigma seems distant or uninterested in traditional romance, it's not because they're cold, it's because they're committed. Committed to something bigger than themselves. Committed to purpose, legacy, and impact. Because at the end of the day, a Sigma male's true love story isn't found in candlelit dinners or couple selfies. It's written in the legacy they leave behind. Reason 7. They're not afraid to be alone. Let's face it, most people fear loneliness more than heartbreak. The silence, the stillness, and the absence of another person can feel like a prison to the average individual. But for Sigma males, solitude is not a sentence, it's a sanctuary. They don't just tolerate being alone, they thrive in it. Psychologists have long studied personality archetypes like the Sigma male, men who are independent, introspective, and nonconformist. Unlike extroverts who gain energy from social interaction, Sigmas gain energy from solitude. Their brains are wired to process thoughts deeply, analyze patterns, and reflect on ideas, activities that require uninterrupted space and time. In fact, studies show that people who are comfortable with being alone often exhibit higher levels of creativity and problem-solving skills. This is especially true for Sigma males. Solitude gives them a mental edge. It allows them to strategize without distractions, set long-term goals, and align their actions with their internal compass, not someone else's expectations. While the world rushes to post relationship highlights on social media, Sigmas are unplugging, journaling, reading, learning, building. They don't chase attention, they focus on self-mastery. They're not interested in surface-level connections or meaningless small talk. They crave clarity, depth, and control over their own path. And that's the secret: control. Solitude gives them command over their time, energy, and emotions. No drama, no confusion, just freedom to think and grow. Meanwhile, many people rush into relationships out of fear of being alone. They bounce from one partner to the next, looking to fill a void. But Sigmas, they sit in the void. They don't numb it, they transform it. Where others see emptiness, Sigmas see potential. In solitude, they forge identity. In silence, they sharpen vision. And in the absence of constant validation, they find inner strength. So while others may equate being alone with being unloved or unwanted, Sigmas understand the truth. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's a superpower. Reason 8, they've been hurt and learn from it. Let's not sugarcoat it. Sigma males aren't robots. They've loved, they've been betrayed, they've opened up, and they've been broken. But here's the difference: they learn, they adapt, and they don't repeat. A Sigma male doesn't fall into the same trap twice. Once burned, he doesn't wallow, he evolves. Unlike many who stay stuck in toxic cycles, the Sigma male dissects the pain, studies it, and upgrades his emotional armor. He doesn't become cold, he becomes calculated. He doesn't fear love, he respects its power. Psychologically speaking, this type of man often exhibits high emotional intelligence. He understands attachment, codependency, and manipulation. And he's not afraid to cut ties when things turn toxic. Studies show that emotionally intelligent individuals are better at identifying red flags and avoiding repeated relational mistakes. That's the Sigma's secret weapon. He's been through the illusion of false love, the kind that flatters your ego but drains your soul. He knows what it feels like to be used for his strength, his silence, or his mystery. And while it hurt, he didn't let it define him, it refined him. His armor isn't made of spite, but insight. It's forged from lessons, not grudges. And though he may walk alone, he doesn't walk bitter, he walks wiser. This is why Sigma males often appear detached. Not because they lack emotion, but because they guard it with precision. They love deeply, but wisely. And sometimes that wisdom whispers a harsh truth. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. So yes, he walks alone. Not because he can't find love, but because he refuses to settle for a version of it that costs him his peace. So Sigmas, if the world ever makes you feel like you're missing out, remember this. You're not alone because you're unloved. You're alone because you refuse to settle. Your solitude is your strength. Your silence is your signature. Your standards, they're your superpower. Being single isn't your curse, it's your crown. Stay true to your path. Trust your instincts. And if love finds you on your journey, let it be a bonus, not the destination. Remember to like, subscribe, and join our growing tribe of lone wolves carving their own path in a noisy world. Stay true and stay Sigma.